Yes, welcome once again, everyone. Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It is August 14th, 2018. Of course, presented as always by the Marijuana Times. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there. You can find the show. Check out all the great social media networks. You can follow us on all of them. All the great articles by a bunch of great writers covering the cannabis community and industry and more, all at marijuanatimes.org. Today, talking about North Dakota. Big marijuana news out of North Dakota. Marijuana law reform news. Also a new PSA in Massachusetts about driving stoned. We'll show you that. And the latest on what's going on with the new medical marijuana regulations in Michigan. All of that coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Nature's Side and their organic all-natural pesticides, nature-side.com. Go check it out. The site is spelled CIDE. Grow safe and poison-free. Don't use harmful chemicals on your grow. And if you're growing in a state where cannabis cultivation is legal, you want to be regulatory compliant, you can do that with Nature's Side. Nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Go check them out because they are awesome. This first story from Julia Granowitz at marijuanatimes.org. North Dakota marijuana legalization ballot measure qualifies for the November election. That's right, this fall they will be voting in North Dakota on recreational legalization. They submitted 14,637 valid signatures, around 1,200 more than they needed. So North Dakota voters will have a chance to end prohibition in their state with the election and going to the ballot on November 6th. Normal Executive Director Eric Altieri said, quote, "We applaud the hard work and dedication from the campaign and countless volunteers on the ground in North Dakota who went door to door out and out into the communities to gather the signatures required to put this on the ballot in November." It is rather impressive, not only for being in North Dakota, a state that, Trump won by 30-something points, a state that just recently got medical marijuana. They're still working out the regulations there when it comes to medical marijuana. But it is a big state that has a lot of land and relatively few people compared to other states of its size. So there's a lot of space between neighbors, a lot of space between houses, and for them to go out and get these signatures spread out all over the state. It really is an impressive accomplishment. What the chances are that it'll pass in November, well, we'll see. We got several weeks before the elections in November. A lot's going to be going on that election night. Of course, you can stay tuned to marijuanatimes.org to bring you all of it. And of course, North Dakota will be one of the things we're talking about. We'll hear more about them in the weeks and the next couple of months. If you're an activist in North Dakota, well, it's game time. This is it. You suit up and get out there and score the goal or whatever. Sports analogy. Insert sports analogy here. Sports ball. Go sports ball. This next story is from masslive.com. Don't drive stoned and instead take the MBTA or use a ride-hailing app like Lyft or Uber. Massachusetts officials say Massachusetts public safety officials are teaming up with a marijuana business to curb, quote-unquote, drugged driving. Bring up the, almost another graphic snafu, but it was avoided. That's right. On my game tonight. Sierra Naturals, which runs 3 medical marijuana dispensaries and has a cultivation license for recreational marijuana, announced the launch of a public service announcement highlighting the dangers of impaired driving. Don't drive stoned ever, a young woman says in the PSA, which is titled, "Let's Do This Right." Sierra Naturals CEO Michael Dundas urged responsible usage of marijuana as he stood with Massachusetts public safety and law enforcement officials who are launching their own related campaign against drug driving. The campaign includes a 30-second ad airing on the internet and on TV. It's an ad we have right here, so let's check it out.
There are roads.
The ones you take,
the ones you don't.
There are laws.
There are rules.
And there's you.
You driving.
You drunk driving.
You driving high.
you stoned and driving.
You spinning.
Crashing.
You arrested. You killing.
My mom or yours.
My daughter.
My sister.
My love.
My life.
And yours.
There are roads.
And then there are just dead ends.
So there you go, the latest PSA out of Massachusetts against the stoned, drugged driving. See what kind of impact it has. It's a pure like a 30-second ad. They packed a lot into it. There was a lot of a lot of cuts, a lot of young people, a lot of relatable people giving good advice. Because if you're stoned and you don't feel like you could drive, then don't drive. By all means, stay home. Enjoy your surroundings, your loved one, your friends. You don't got to go anywhere that bad. You're fine. Or public transportation, taxis, if those are still there where you live. I don't know if taxis are still a thing. I guess they are still in some places. And, of course, Uber and Lyft. All those things are good things. So that's the latest in Massachusetts when it comes to education campaign, let's say. This next story, this last story, from MLive.com out of Michigan. Medical marijuana shops won't get licenses in time for the state deadline. Next month, some medical marijuana patients in Michigan may be caught in the lurch of regulatory chaos. It's anticipated that many medical marijuana businesses in the state will have to shut their doors September 15th as state officials impose a deadline for businesses to have new licenses issued under the state's program. You're running a whole set of very serious risks if you operate after September 15th, said Bob Hendricks, a marijuana business lawyer in Grand Rapids. He said risk of prosecution, risk of not getting a license at all, ever. Hefty applications and heavy scrutiny from an appointed board has slowed the launch of the program, and regulators admit that they won't be able to license all the businesses that have applied by September 15th. Of course, if you've been following this story, there's been several extensions on this from February into the summer, and then to an extension to September 15th. Apparently still, that is not going to be good enough. Of course, new rules for medical marijuana were passed in 2016. All operating businesses had to apply for a license by February 15th. A total of 215 did so and have been operating under temporary rules for the past several months. At the time, the state said it would complete its vetting by June 15th and would issue new licenses. As the day grew closer, there was such a backlog of paperwork that no licenses had been issued. The Bureau extended the deadline to September 15th with a signature from the governor. Any medical marijuana businesses that have been operating under the temporary rules must now have a new license approved by the state's medical marijuana licensing board by September 15th to be operational. But out of the 215 that applied, only a fraction will be licensed by the 15th. So in other words, a lot going on in Michigan, and the people are going to be hurt by delays and snafus and problems, as always when it comes to medical marijuana programs, are the patients, and that's a shame. And it looks like the patients in Michigan are in for a rough time, at least especially in parts of the state where they may not have access to their medicine. We'll continue to follow that story and more here on Cannabis News. Go check us out on YouTube, subscribe, or on Vimeo and Apple Podcasts as well. Just search the Marijuana Times. Click the video tab at marijuanatimes.org. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you to all of you who listen, watch, comment, share, like, all of that stuff, and help us spread the truth about cannabis through this show. Please continue to do so. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll see you next time here on Cannabis News.